Arvest Bank is pleased to bring you the Legend Series, where we focus on individuals who are committed to their communities, much like Arvest.
Well, that leads me to another line of questions I wanted to ask you about. I know that probably 30 years ago or so, there was a movement in Springfield to make sure that boards in Springfield had a good representation of women. And now you do see more balance on boards, having women represented. But you were part of that group of women that were fighting for your place at the boardroom and at the lead of companies. What was your role in any of that? Did you have mentors along the way?
Well, I mean, I think everybody you have that's on an organization is a mentor, either good or bad, you know. But I was chairman of the community foundation, so I just kind of worked my way up into being involved in organizations. I've been president of several organizations, and you're right, there should be a movement toward having more women on boards.
Do you feel like it's improved?
I think it's improved, yes, I think so, but I think it could improve more so.
What do you think, not necessarily women bring to a board that men don't, but maybe a balance? What does that mix of gender, do you feel, bring to the boardroom?
Well, you know, I can't really tell you that because we've had mostly men. But I mean, we need women for sure, but you know, a lot of times you get women and they're mothers or whatever, and they're really too busy to devote time, and that's unfortunate. You know, and I think that, not that being mother is not a real significant thing, but I think that holds some people back from doing that. I did it anyway. I just had babysitters. I used to run around, you know, and everybody's got to have they've got to decide that's important enough for them to give that time to an organization.
Right.
And I think if you do one organization at a time, it's probably a little bit more acceptable for family life too.
How did you find a balance? You have one of the most recognizable last names in the community, and with a retail outlet that O'Reilly Automotive stores that's gone nationwide, but it wasn't always that. When you married Charlie, that wasn't always the situation you were in, but that's the O'Reillys that most of Springfield knows today.
I know. I lived in a termite-filled house in Joplin, Missouri, and had one child when we were there and one when we left, and we really had very little, you know, which is, people see us as we are today, but they didn't know that part of it. But we were still always part of organizations. I think we started when we were like 25, being involved with organizations and giving what we could. And much of it was time, of course.
Right.
So.
And what was, you kind of have three parts of your life that at least I'm familiar with. The O'Reilly family and the endeavors there, Breast Cancer Foundation, the Ozarks, and of course your personal life as a mother. What was, in one of those areas or any of those, all of them, what was a pivotal point? Did the tide turn on one and help achieve everything you wanted to achieve elsewhere?
You know, that's a hard question to answer, really. My children were very, what should I say, very energetic when they were teenagers, and I had a large spans between children, so I was focused on, you know, I'd go home and bury cats and do different things like that. So I'm not sure that O'Reilly went public in '95, and at that point our lives did change. But before that, we were, and I still think we're just who we were then, we are now. Mm-hmm. You know, my husband won't buy any clothes other than bicycle clothes. You know, won't leave the lights on. You know, so although the company's very successful, you know, it's nice to know that. And I always remember when we went public, one of my sons said, "Oh my God, we have this money now," and he felt very, it made him feel very awkward. Mm-hmm. And our grandchildren feel awkward. But anyway, my son gave a certain amount of money to the kitchen because he was feeling guilty about acquiring money. So they never had money when they were young. But you know, so I don't know that it, you know, it's obviously it made us be able to donate a lot more too. It's, I think our philanthropy came from O'Reilly, so that, you know, we all have our own foundations and use that to donate to the community.
Yeah, of course, Breast Cancer Foundation of the Ozarks is what I think most people would connect you with, but you have many other passions that your family foundation has supported. What are some of your passions outside of BCFO?
Well, most of them are related to children, but we certainly have, you know, and I don't have as many passions now as I used to since we travel a lot, but Isabel's house would be one. My daughter-in-law started that, and I think another daughter-in-law is starting a writing school for handicapped children. So, you know, everybody's, and my youngest son donated the office space for BCFO, so all of our children have been very philanthropic too, through O'Reilly. So.
And each of them are strong business people in their own right.
Oh, absolutely.
How did you instill that in them?
We were very hard on them. We used to make loans for things that they wanted. They had to buy their own car. We paid half of their insurance. They worked since they were 14, sweeping parking lots at O'Reilly or other jobs. My oldest son, Pat, used to work at the Fox Hollow. And one of my sons used to ride his bike to Nixa. That was before the roads were like that, and work in the store there. So they've always worked, and they've continued that path. So I'm very proud of them. They're all very successful.
Yes.
So and they certainly, I mean, they're lucky to have the money to backing them for leverage. But my oldest son Pat started different. Assisted living homes with memory care, and he's got several of them, and they're all filled before they're even built. So, and Tim, of course, hospitality and a lawyer, and Ryan's got a venture capital business and several service businesses. So, they all have the luck of the leverage, but they are certainly hardworking people, and we've been hard on them. Like I said, we made them pay their own way. In fact, when Tim and he tells this story too, he kind of goofed around through college, and he said, degree in economics, what am I going to do? I think I'll go to law school. We went, what? You've never talked about law school, you've never done debate, you've never done anything like that. You're going to have to pay for that yourself. So he went off to St. Thomas and worked as a waiter and a bartender for a year, and then came back and went to law school. And we knew he'd have it paid off, but he didn't know that. And he worked like a dog. He was a waiter all through law school. So,
wow.
You know,
wow.
So.
If you could go back and speak to your 25-year-old self, what would you say, the one thing, the one turn in your life that you wished you hadn't taken? What would it have been?
The one turn I wish I hadn't taken. You know, I can't say that there were really any. I think I didn't choose a lot of things. A lot of things just happened. I would say that. So it's hard to say that what turn would I have taken, because I just kind of walked into a lot of good things and worked to make them happen.
Would you consider yourself an opportunist?
Yes, I would. Yeah, definitely.
Are you constantly just on the lookout for the opportunity, or does
Yes,
the opportunity come knocking at your door now?
Well, at one time I was looking, and it knocked on my door, both. And now I'm trying to back off. Crystal Webster's the executive director of BCFO, and you know, for the first time in my life, I feel, well, not now, but for years, I felt very secure that she can carry the operation forward, and has. So that's been a real blessing, and I've been able to travel more and do things that I want to do. So, and I'm not looking for opportunities at this point in time.
But they're still coming knocking?
Oh, not really.
Not
It's
really?
kind of slowed down. It's slowed down, I will have to say that. So.
Yeah. What passions do you have now that are maybe more personal? You mentioned traveling. You spend time in Colorado and Florida.
Right. And so we bike ride there. I can't bike ride in Colorado because I've had part of my lungs removed. So I'm a little bit,
Because of the altitude?
Yeah, the altitude. So, but I can hike and do things like that. So, there's always something that you can do. In Florida, we do ride bikes quite a bit in Florida. Read, we were lucky enough in Colorado to go to some symphonies, the New York Philharmonic and Philadelphia Philharmonic and Dallas Philharmonic. So if I have an opportunity to do that, I love doing that. So just a variety of things. I mean, again, things that come, you don't always seek them out. They kind of come and you get to enjoy them.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, if I asked you about what would you tell your 25-year-old self, well, there are a lot of 25-year-old professionals, including women, of course, entering the workforce now as a board member, a founder of a nonprofit, as a business person. What advice do you have?
Well, I worked most of my life. I mean, I started the professionals, and I don't know if you know that, at Mercy. And it's now a managed care product, the nurse on call. So, I think you need to have a vision, you need to have a plan, you need to work hard. I think that you have to be able to put all those things into action if you really want to do something.
Have you ever had a moment in your life where you thought, I want to quit. I'm done, whatever it was, a project, maybe it was BCFO at some point that you got discouraged and said, I'm done.
No.
Did you ever have that point?
No, never did.
You've never thought about quitting?
Well, the only thing I ever thought about quitting was, to be truthful, as a little welfare project that I had when how do I say this? The Division of Family Services thought they had put a certain number of people to work, and they were sure that they were still working. And I visited all the places that they were supposed to have worked, and most of them didn't show up ever, and some of them, they were, nobody was left. And I wrote a little memo to them, as a little paper to the state saying that, we could use this as a learning experience, and I did my results and what have you, and the state got all upset, and people here got all upset, so I went, you know what, I am done with that. So that was one time that I wasn't able to follow through with making anything happen.
And what is that turning point? I mean, if there's anything that has been a constant whenever somebody has spoken of Mary Beth O'Reilly over the years, I think the word tenacious would come to mind. And so actually walking away from something would be major for you.
Well, I couldn't do anything about it, so it was, I tried everything I could to make that work, but it didn't work.
Control what you can control and let go of the rest?
Yeah, you have to sometimes. That's probably the only project that I ever was involved in that I left other than for another project.
So what does the future hold?
You know what, I have 9 grandchildren. I can take them one at a time. I don't have the same amount of energy as I used to, so, well, the little ones I can take one at a time. So anyway, I'll continue to travel, and my husband's a big bike rider, so we have to go to Colorado all summer long so he can bike ride.
Yes.
So, and I love Florida, so I hate the cold, so, that pretty well takes up most of the year.
Yeah.
Except I'm always back here for Hooked on Dance for sure.
Absolutely.
So, and, I still do some donors, call donors. And
what do you think is your most important legacy?
I'd say it's BCFO. Although they tell me at Mercy that the on-call, in fact, my internal medicine doctor, Dr. Dominic Meldy, kept saying, you need to come and see this, what you started here. So one of these days, he's going to take me to see that, see what it has become.
Yeah.
So that's a legacy. But BCFO, by far and above, is my biggest legacy.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
You made this so easy for my first time. I'm used to answering the questions, not asking them.
Well, you did a great job, actually.
Oh, well, thank you. It worked out well, just having a conversation.
It
Thank
did.
you so much.
Okay, did it seem like
Like the individuals highlighted in the Legend series, Arvest Bank is committed to our community. Click on the link below to find out ways that you can engage with us to help make Springfield great.